Hello everybody, my name is Joshua and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Coffee, Cats, and King, where we will discuss books, both new and old. I will share with you pictures of my cats who make you wish they were your cats, and I will drink enough coffee for me and everybody watching. Alright, first up, before we get into anything, I want to give you some cat footage because you haven't had any for a very, very long time. So I hope you enjoyed that. I know that Havoc and Chaos missed being on the channel, and I'm sure that you missed them being on the channel. This is a weekly wrap-up. This is going to cover the 14th through the 20th, basically Friday to Thursday. And it probably won't be structured like that in the future, but I'm still trying to get a hold on everything and figure out how I'm going to set up these videos, essentially. So for this week anyway, it is Friday to Thursday. And there is one book that I'm going to be talking about that I should have talked about in my catch-up last week that I did not. So we'll go on and get into those, talk about that, and then tell you a little bit about the books that I'm going to read next. So we're going to start with the ebook and audiobook that I read this week. The ebook is The King of Everything by Jack Moody. This is a very early copy. The book doesn't actually come out until I think June, so there's a while to wait on this. But the best way I can sum this up is if you enjoy the dream sequence stories from H.P. Lovecraft, then you will very much enjoy this one. The only warning I'll give is that there are multiple instances of animal death, and it's rather descriptive. So those parts for me, I'll be honest, I kind of skimmed to get through that part because you know, hey, murder people in the books all day doesn't bother me, but you know, give me a cute fox or dog or cat or something, I just can't handle it. This is about a man who wakes up at an undetermined time in the future to discover that he is the only person left. He doesn't know what happened, he just knows that he is the only person anywhere as far as he can tell. Animals do not seem to be affected by whatever this was. They are already kind of taking over the city again, and the whole story really is him exploring and not even really getting answers on what's going on. There are some shadowy figures in the background kind of lurking and slowly encroaching more on this somewhat idyllic lifestyle he has going for him. So there is some tension back there, but for the most part, there's not actually a whole lot that goes on in this book. It is just the experience of being in this quiet, almost inconsequential sort of world, and just letting yourself go with it. It's almost a cozy horror. Some people, I think, will probably find it boring because there's not a whole lot going on, but I found it to be a nice, relaxing break, and just really enjoyed the prose of the story. So that was a 5-star for me. I look forward to getting a physical copy, and I'm hoping that some of you will check it out when it does come out here later in the year. Now, the audiobook that I listened to this week was A Short History of Coffee by Gordon Kerr. This one, it is a short history because coffee has been around for a very, very, very long time. This book is very, again, sort of very dry. There is definitely some dry humor in there as well, but I'd say this is only one to pick up if you are genuinely interested in just the history of coffee. This is very to the point, and it's not one that I can recommend to everybody, but I had fun with it for what it was. I gave it 4 stars. There are some really interesting bits in there, so if you are interested in where this delicious, delightful drink comes from, then maybe check that one out too. I will say that the narrator was fantastic for this audiobook. So again, great to just put on in the background. I basically listened to the whole thing while I was cleaning up and organizing and putting together these bookshelves and everything else, and just had a really good time with it. So now for the physical books. I'm going to start with the one that I should have talked about in last week's little catch-up wrap-up thing, and ignore the bookmark in there. Paige is in the middle of reading this at the moment because I stole it from her bookshelves. So I actually read Beverly Jenkins' Indigo, and yes, this is historical romance. And some of you were like, hey man, what's going on? Why are you reading historical romance instead of like historical horror or whatever? So this is one that I have been really interested in for a long time because the main characters are both involved in the Underground Railroad, and Beverly Jenkins is known for very much sticking to the facts of history and just laying it out. This is the way it was. I've been very interested to see what she does with it. Obviously, romance is not my thing, so I didn't really know how this was going to go. But I knew Paige was picking it up this month, so I decided, what the heck, I'll go on and read it as well, and then we'll have a little something to talk about on a dinner date or something, right? I actually really enjoyed this. Now, the romance is definitely there. What I appreciated about this is that it's not filled with sex scenes and spice. There is tension between the two characters, and there is some of that in here, but more like what you would get in an R-rated movie. It's there, but it's not over the top and gratuitous, if you will. The story really takes center stage here, so I appreciated that. And the story itself is very fascinating. From what I could tell, being somewhat of a history buff, I think that Beverly Jenkins does a great job of staying within the boundaries of what actually happened, and kind of explaining to people what it was like for these folks. I'd say that if you are just someone that is interested in some American history, as far as a historical fiction, then this would be a great book for you, whether you're a romance reader or not. Again, yes, the romance is definitely there, but the confines that these characters are stuck in, the boundaries that are put there because of the situation they're in, it really just builds and turns it into something more than just, you know, this silly little romance, I guess. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars and I was very impressed. I think that if I were to venture back into romance anytime soon, then it would probably be with Beverly Jenkins. I'm looking forward to talking to Paige about it when she finishes. So next up, I picked up J.S. Fields' Ardulum First Dawn. This is part of a science fiction space opera, if you will. It's about this alien that works on a cargo ship hauling mostly legal cargo. They accidentally get involved in a little space battle going on between the equivalent of the police force for space and these aliens that they're really not familiar with. They end inadvertently help the aliens, and in return the aliens give them a gift, this capsule thing. When they open this capsule, it contains an alien child who seems to be of an alien species that is actually considered a myth. As far as everyone knows, they don't exist at all. And in fact, one of the main characters that we're following on her homeworld, these particular aliens are considered not aliens but gods. There were parts of this book that were very slow, other parts that were very hard to follow, but sections of it were really interesting, really had me going, and there were some very clever sequences here where the alien physiology really comes into play. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars, and I did start book 2, which was Ardalon's Second Dawn. I got about 100 pages in and decided to DNF it because I found myself wanting to hurry up and finish the next chapter so I can move on to something else, and it just was not catching my attention. I wouldn't say you shouldn't pick it up. It's just going to take the right person to enjoy these, and it is a series. I think there's 5 books in the series total. Kind of felt like maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace for a space opera at the time. I wanted something maybe a little more fast-paced, so I ended up grabbing, again off of Page's shelves, Bryn Weaver's Leather and Lark. So Leather and Lark is the follow-up to Butcher and Blackbird, which was a blast. I would say that Butcher and Blackbird is, as of right now, the shining example for those that want to mesh horror and romance. If you and your partner are on those opposite sides, Butcher and Blackbird is a book that you can both read together and both find so much to talk about. So I knew that going into Leather and Lark, this book was going to have a tough time impressing me in the first place because Butcher and Blackbird was so good that, the bar was set up here. I just didn't know how it was going to go. Ultimately, it was still a fun read. Was it for me at the level of Butcher and Blackbird? Definitely not. Page said that this one felt more like a dark romance. Why this one did not work as well for me, I don't know. It just, something about it was very different. I did not enjoy the characters nearly as much as I did in Butcher and Blackbird. I did not think that the female character was particularly realistic as a killer in the first place, because every situation she gets in, it seems like she's just totally helpless. Whereas in Butcher and Blackbird, Sloane is very capable of defending herself. Lark here, not so much. It felt lackluster after the high of Butcher and Blackbird, so it was still fun. There were still some humorous moments, still some good parts, but overall just did not capture my imagination the way that the first book did. So I'm sticking this one at about a 4-star, maybe 3.5, but right around in there. Still worth picking up, still enjoyable, but I'm hoping that Scythe and Sparrow can elevate back to that level that Butcher and Blackbird did, whenever it is that I end up picking that up, I guess. So those are the books that I read. As far as what I'm getting into next for my ebook, I'm about halfway into Anarchist on the Orient Express from Susanna Roundtree. Very, very, very much enjoying this one as well. Just as good as the first book, in my opinion. So I can already tell that I'll be picking up book 3 immediately following finishing this one. And then as far as my physical books, I decided to pick up two books that technically don't have to go together, but very much coincide in the same universe, if you will. It's two books that I've read before that I have not read, however, in a very, very long time. So I have signed myself up for Desperation, followed by The Regulators. It's about 1,200 pages with these two. Still not as long as the uncut version of The Stand or It, but quite an undertaking regardless. So, again, I've read these in the past, but it has been well over a decade now since I've picked them up, and I keep kind of gravitating towards them. So it's just time. I'm in the mood. I haven't read a good King in a while, so I'm gonna jump on in and just see what happens with Desperation. So that's where we're at on this one. I can't necessarily call it a quick wrap up, but it was a wrap up at least. And on my next video, I will, well, I don't know what I'll be doing. I'll figure that on the fly, kind of. But again, I want to thank you all for sort of sticking around, for giving me a chance to get back into this. I am, once again, very much looking forward to catching up with all of you. And thank you all. So I hope that you stay safe, have a great week or weekend, and most importantly, drink great coffee. Cheers.